Hello, my name is Thomas Hager, and I'm going to be talking about wildlife and environmental conservation and why I believe it is important and necessary action for us to take as people, and why basically you should care about conservation. Um, the first step to understanding conservation, I just like to explain what like a general idea of what conservation is. Alison Zinni wrote an article in 2024 that environmental conservation is efforts from individuals, groups, or governments and corporations to conserve the natural environment. And I think that's just a really way to put it. And these efforts are just, no matter how big or small, are ways to provide and protect the environment. Um, why I believe conservation is important. Living in the mountains has made like a very unique experience and opportunity for me to be surrounded by wildlife, and I think us as people that live here receive a lot of benefits from nature itself. There are many reasons, things such as like clean air, food, and water. Wolfpackers wrote that the environmental conservation plays a huge role in in quest and keeping our water and air clean, which I believe we enjoy the water and the streams we swim in, the water we drink, and the air we breathe are all from the forest and woods all around us. And so I think it's very important that we take care of that and provide for it and treat it well so it can also provide for us. Also, living in the mountains in North Carolina, there are a lot of animals that need conservation. The Smithsonian talked about how extinction rate is hundreds or even thousands times higher than the natural baseline. They wrote that article about 2020, and I think that is just a very scary fact and something that we should care about because it is thousands of times higher than the baseline. And so conservation is necessary. Some of the animals that we deal with in North Carolina and up in this area, um, WBTW on in 2022 wrote an article that said there are red wolves are a highly endangered species. About 15 to 17 of them left in the natural environment, which is a scary fact. And the animals around, such as the gray bat and the Carolina northern flying squirrel, are also endangered species that need help and are losing their environment due to many different factors. Another reason is the rising climate crisis. The United Nations talks about how burning fossil fuels and greenhouse gases has led to a record high and like extreme weather. This has led to more disasters and food and economic crises. This is something that all affected all of us with Hurricane Helene, which devastated Boone and Western Carolinas and all the Appalachian Mountains, all this area. And I think that that's something that we can help protect against by conservation, kind of protecting our environment and our ecosystem and our atmosphere, and all that together can further provide and prevent things like that from happening. Um, so there is many things that are causing it, and I think that there is a lot of reasons that do cause it, but some of the biggest is human activities that affect the environment. Things like trash, pollutants, stuff like that, and even just like damaging wildlife by accident, going out, accidentally stepping on a bird's nest, or not cutting down a tree in your yard that some squirrels lived in, or something like that. Just little things like that can add up for things of things. But some of the bigger things are land. Clear cutting of forests not only destroys the natural wildlife, but when you cut down a tree, it releases the carbon that is stored within it. And so that's something that is a problematic, which is one bad for the environment, bad for the animals, but also releases a lot of carbon into the air. Transportation, electricity, transportation of cars, boats, planes, trucks, any of those things burn fossil fuels and release carbon into the atmosphere. Also, burning fossil fuels for electricity. A lot of electricity uses fossil fuels rather than renewable energy. Um, green power, where that fossil fuels are responsible for 83% of the total CO2 emissions that are received from uh, that are put into the air and atmosphere. Um, Although these are things that are happening all over the world and kind of everywhere, that it is happening here and it is affecting us in Boone every day, and so that is just something to be aware of. If you're like me and you're wondering what can I do to help, there are a lot of things that you can do locally. I believe very much it's important that we all benefit from the wildlife, and so I think it is important that we help fight to protect it. There are a lot of things we can do in our local area. Small things such as cutting out red meat, not entirely, but trying to eat less red meat. Red meat's like the most produces the most amount of emissions from food. It's the most like extreme, I guess, of the meats and stuff like that. So cutting out on things with palm oil, red meat, and stuff like that can help just provide a little bit more um, boost to your CO2, your carbon footprint. But things also taking such as like public transport help with just CO2 emissions from your in your day to day life. There are also a ton of volunteer resources. You can go clean up streams. You can go help preserve land. You can go help clean up trash and forests, and or even donating. The one organization that I do like is the North Carolina Wildlife Foundation. They're really good. They do a lot of cleanups. You can volunteer. You can volunteer to create a group together, and so I think they're a really good resource. But in conclusion, I think that it's really important to educate everyone about conservation and wildlife, and I think it's important for us to go out and protect the environment and really try to make a change. Thank you.